symptoms. I'm going to try to be quick on the mute button with my cough. That is not too bad these days. But other than that, I started working again after my Christmas break,
So not great.
and I don't like that. But
Fox is a
yeah,
school bus
dude,
driver. For those
I
of you guys who
am.
didn't know that,
It's
I
really, it
used to be,
hasn't.
but
It's actually gotten, my routes have gotten better this year, so I'm not complaining too much.
are you guys still
That-
running at like 70% staff?
Oh, that would be the dream at this point.
Really, that bad?
We're so bad that starting at the second semester, my high school route is being canceled.
Kids got to walk.
Yeah, no, they legitimately I got a letter saying, "Hey, your route has been identified as what due to low staff and high sick day usage because of all the everything.
Yeah.
Your route has been identified as one that will be canceled starting whatever day. Students, if they ask, have the option of getting a discounted hop pass for like the public transportation around here, or they can pay a fee. There's some other stuff, but basically some high school routes are just being canceled outright because we do not have the capacity to continue covering them.
That's wild.
Yeah, no, it sucks because there are some kids who will not go to school without that option. Their parents can't take them, or things like that, and it just it really sucks. So
Hey,
I mean,
if you
I know I
live
don't
in
I know
the
I don't talk
Troutdale-
about it in the most positive way, but hey, you should be a bus driver. Actually, the job is great when there's lots of people working there. Your workload is a lot less. You have more people. It's just way less stressful.
I genuinely enjoyed it while I was a school bus driver.
Right.
It was just, it had two things that were a struggle with me. And number one was that it was just early. And I'm not
Sure.
I'm not a 5 a.m. person.
You're not. Yeah.
And then number two, I was what was called the cover driver, which means that I didn't know what my route would be every day. I would just show up, and whoever called in sick that day or whatever else, they would just hand me that route. And I also have an anxiety disorder, and those things did not mix well together. Me having no idea where I was going to be driving every single day, but also be told you have to be on time to these places you've never been before and where you don't know you're going. You also have to drive 30 elementary school kids while holding a piece of paper with directions on it, and it's like
Now things are better in that capacity because we all have tablets on the bus now.
nice,
And it will literally, it'll just audibly tell you when to turn and where to go.
That's wonderful.
But anyway, we could stop the advertisement for
This is welcome to.
This is a recruitment video.
Yeah, I
We
mean,
tricked you all. We're not talking about anything except for this.
we have the Nerdy Griffey where we talk about sports. What would this be? Is this the?
The nerdy drifty, because we're talking about driving.
That's good. That's real good. I like the
It's
Nerdy
less
Drifty.
cool than it sounds, but we're driving. And if you're drifting in your school bus, you should be
You're
fired.
doing it wrong. So one of the things they do when they teach you how to drive in the snow or ice in a school bus is they'll take you up to like a really snowy, icy area, and
Yeah.
they just have you drive in an empty parking lot. And then one of the things they do at the end is a competition on who can spin the bus the most. And because the chances of it tipping over are like 0%.
No, it's a pretty wide base.
Yeah, wide base, heavily bottom weighted type thing.
Dual rear tires, all that jazz.
Yeah. I did not do it because I was terrified to try. But
Yep.
seeing people just like drive and then crank the wheel and then get a good like,
You're
280 spin.
literally drifting a school bus. It's the
Bonkers.
they need to put it in Fast 10.
Anyway, let's move on from the Nerdy Drifty because I have a
alright.
question, Fox, that I want to discuss with you before we get started with our actual
All right,
recording
let me
here.
hear it.
Was God of War Ragnarok a little bit boring?
See, I have seen that from multiple people.
I
You're
have
you're
also
talking,
seen that.
You're talking specifically about like the Penny Arcade from yesterday, aren't you?
Well, no, I'd forgotten about that. I'm talking about the Besties.
Oh, Besties did it.
Besties the
Penny
podcast.
Arcade.
Yeah.
I understand that. I do agree that some of the pacing could have been a little quicker sometimes. There was a lot of like, we're just going to go from one location to the other talking about stuff. But also, I don't know, man. I found that all very interesting. Like, that was to me, like, the combat's great and all that jazz, but the story is the bread and butter of those games. So I was not bored ever when it came to, like, I got bored when it, you know, sometimes if I'm like, just, I got to kill all these people, like when I was doing the Muspelheim trials at the end, where it's just do these over and over again. It's just literally repetitive.
Yeah, but those are not
did not
necessary.
Find the story.
Yeah,
I can understand that, but I also just, I'm confused. I don't know what part was boring.
Yeah, I staunchly disagree. If you said you did not like it, that's fine. That's a preference thing. But to say that it had poor pacing issues, I strongly disagree with. To me, it's like sitting down and ordering a pizza and then it arriving and saying, I don't like cheese. Why is this here? It's like, it's what you ordered, dude. Like, no, it's not the thing. It's not like,
I just want the crust. How come I have to go through all this cheese to get to the
right
to the crust?
And that's, I mean, God of War is a narrative story. And I think a lot of times with God of War, you have to realize that they are covering up something worse. Like they're covering up a 1 out of 10 with a 4 out of 10. Like what you have isn't great, but it could be worse. For example, slow climbing walls. Whenever you get to a wall that is like this super slow climb and it's so obnoxious, somebody finally said, I read in a forum, that's a loading area.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Like the next area is loading, and that's what allows you to have completely smooth transitions throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, and the single take camera gimmick.
Right. And, and it's like, oh yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. And then, or slow walk times. Yeah, the narrative is vital in this game. The narrative is gorgeous and beautiful, and it won Best Narrative and deserved it. And Christopher Judge won Best Voice Actor and should have shared it with Richard Schiff because they both crushed it. And like, this game is its narrative.
If Richard Schiff was also up there giving a speech, that speech would have been 48 minutes long.
That dude,
and it would have been great,
and it would have been wonderful every minute of it.
And Al Pacino would have just stood to the side, looking on, smiling, because he's just a fun old man now. Apparently,
it's like, what are we even doing here? My grandkids told me to do this.
Just a grandpa now.
It's like, did you know that song with the Christmas song with David Bowie and Bing Crosby?
Yeah.
Yeah, the where Dave Bowie's singing "Little Drummer Boy" and David Bowie's singing. You don't know that one? It's a very popular Christmas song.
You mean Christmas in Hollis?
Yeah. It was December 24th on Hollis Avenue Park. Anyway,
that was them, right?
Yeah. Anyway, the only reason that happened is because Bing Crosby's daughter was like, David Bowie's in town, and Dad, you have to record something with him. And so that's I don't remember why I brought that up.
No, because Al Pacino was there.
Oh, right.
And he
it was the old guy doing the cool thing. Yeah.
I don't know why I'm here.
Yeah. My agent gave me an envelope of cash and an envelope with an award in it, and told me to go on stage.
Do is stand here and read off a teleprompter. So. Anyway, no, I did not find. Boring is not the right word. I can understand if you felt like it was a little too prolonged at times. I'll give you this. The section where, I mean, I guess spoilers a little bit.
Okay, plug your ears if you're still going to play God of War for a little while. I'll give you, for those of you who are watching, because we can do that now, I'll give you a thumbs up when we're done. You can mute us, and I'll give you the thumbs up when we're done. Go ahead.
I'll be gentle too. The first section in Jotunheim.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That one, not a whole lot of exciting stuff happens, but also I do think we need to done with spoilers. I think we need to maybe realign that just because you're not fighting something, it's not exciting. That there's a lot of character development happening all the time in those games. That's equally as important, if not more so, than the fighting.
Right.
And so if we just need to realign, it's almost we have to still get over the original God of War expectations of constant engagement and visceral. Like, there's more to it now. even though it's been 25 years.
Atlas is over here like, plug your ears if you're gonna play God of War. I don't think I've ever muted a stream faster. You're good, man. You can unmute. We're done talking about spoilers.
I really didn't even spoil anything.
Yeah,
except for
mild stuff. But no, so for me, it's the difference between something like God of War. God of War is the middle ground between something like Vampire Survivors and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. You know, this 100% narrative based, beautiful game,
quote unquote walking simulator.
Yeah, quote unquote walking simulator, and a just absolutely addicting gameplay, no narrative, nothing,
pure gameplay, constant action.
Yeah, pure gameplay, constant action type thing, and that's it. God of War is that perfect marriage. I think maybe not perfect. It had its flaws. I'm not gonna say it's a perfect game. This near perfect marriage between those two. But if you don't want a strong narrative, go play Vampire Survivors. Like, don't play God of War. Like, you're playing the wrong thing. So
if you don't want a strong narrative, go play Elden Ring.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Also, if you like video games, go play Elden Ring. If you're a human being with a beating heart, go play Elden Ring. It is one of the greatest games.
I'm trying to insult Elden Ring. Let me insult it. Its narrative is
just
bad.
Play Elden Ring. That's right, Atlas. Just play Elden Ring. It's so good.
Play it. It's a great game, but it has no narrative, and that's why it doesn't win for me.
It does have a narripe. It's convoluted, like all.
I don't want to have to watch VaatiVidya to understand it, though.
The replayability was what made it win my game of the year. Just highly replayable.
Great.
For God of War, I platinumed it, and I will probably never play it again.
Same here.
Yeah. So it's a spectacular game, but Elden Ring, I am already like, hey, future guys that I stream with, do you maybe want to play Elden Ring? That's an option. We could play Elden Ring. I want an excuse to play Elden Ring again.
There aren't any other games, so I think we have to.
Yeah, there's no other games that exist now, so we have to play Elden Ring. Atlas says, I grew up in FromSoft games, so seeing them win Game of the Year was so emotional for me. I think God of War was the only other contender in reality, but Elden Ring in my heart deserved it.
Hey, Stray, guys. It was about a cat.
It was about a cat. That's true. Yeah. But man, Atlas, I agree with you. God of War was spectacular. It was a heavy contender.
It absolutely deserved Game of the Year.
Yeah, if it had won, I'd have been like, okay, that's fair. That makes sense. I disagree, but that's totally fair. It's not like when It Takes Two won, you know?
What would have made Elden Ring to me better, personally, is a more digestible, understandable narrative, even if it's obscure and weird. To me, even if it was obscure and weird like a Kojima game, but it was still there. And like there for me to digest, and then I could dive deeper if I wanted to. This was, I played through the game, and I do not know anything. I don't know what it was about or why I did any of the stuff in it. I chose not to dive as deep as they wanted me to, and obviously that's on me. But I also feel as though there should be less of a barrier to the narrative.
It's totally fair. It really is. Yeah. It's a different way of presenting a story.
Absolutely, yeah. But it's what brought it down for me.
Yeah. Best music. Christopher Judge won Best Actor for playing Kratos there, Atlas.
Best.
But yeah, God of War won a crap ton of awards, and deservedly so. All right, well, Fox, you just about ready to record a podcast?
Always.
All right, so
not always. Yes.
We're gonna get started recording a podcast here, chat. While we're recording the podcast, because this is something that we also distribute as a podcast later, we are not going to be interacting with the chat much here. Please go ahead and comment though, because after we're done recording the podcast, we are going to stick around for 10-15 minutes, jump back into the chat, see a lot of the things you guys said, and discuss that with you at that point then. But while we're podcasting itself, go ahead and just know that we're probably not going to be really interacting with chat that much during that time. So with that being said, I'm gonna go. Last thing from Atlas here. If Elden Ring wasn't in contention, God of War would have won the biggest gap with the biggest gap in votes ever. Yeah, there wasn't really anything else. Maybe like Tunic. Tunic was a spectacular game, but in my opinion, the combat brought it down a lot. Its combat was a little bit clunky in an otherwise near perfect game. The combat was kind of a glaring issue for me. But anyway, so let's go ahead and record a podcast. I am recording.
Samesies.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1,
2,
3.
4.
You got the pre-intro today.
Today on the Nerdy Gritty, we talk about Wizards of the Coast and everything they've been up to lately.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am Dez.
And I'm Fox.
Fox, we're going to be talking about Wizards of the Coast today. I told you that, and
yes,
they got a lot going on. If you guys don't know, Wizards of the Coast is a subsidiary of Hasbro. Hasbro is the game-making organization, and Wizards of the Coast does things like Soulforge, I think they do, as well as D&D and Magic the Gathering. And
do they make D&D and Magic the Gathering? I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I'm talking to our listeners here, not just you.
I was making a joke how it's just that's all they do at this point.
Anyway, but most recently, there's been talk about 1D&D, the newest edition of Dungeons and Dragons, which is going to be some minor changes from the 5th edition, which is currently the current edition. But I, in my heart, love and will always miss 3.5.
Yep.
I learned
3.5er.
I learned a 3.5. I was a rules encyclopedia for 3.5. And on top of all of this, 3.5 had hundreds of classes that you could be. Dozens of races, hundreds of classes that you could choose from, including something called prestige classes, where they just had some requirements that you would build up to. And
prestige into something.
Yeah, and you could get like this extra, very like min-maxed class with like some extra special cool stuff.
Yep.
But this also led to some pretty wild prestige classes, having that many classes that are official 100% things. So we're going to play a game here and chat, because if you guys listening to the podcast don't know, we actually stream the podcast now as well. So you can come check us out on twitch.tv/savepointmin. We are streaming over here on Twitch. But chat, you can go ahead and jump in on this if you want to. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read a description for 2 different prestige classes.
Okay.
One of them is an actual real D&D 3.5 prestige class.
Okay.
And one of them I made up. And
Great.
You need to guess which is the real one and which is the false one. Are you ready?
I'm excited. Yes.
Okay. So here we go. You can tell that I got into it more and more as I kept going, because the descriptions begin like 1 or 2 sentences and they go to short paragraphs at the end. First one. Here we go. Master Thrower. A prestige class that specializes in turning anything in their immediate area into a dangerous throwing weapon. Or
pretty cool.
Way of the Third Kick. A monk prestige class that gives the monk a spectral third leg, which gives bonuses to speed, jumping, flurry of blows, and more.
Oh, I love both of them.
Which is the real one? Which is the fake one?
Which is the real one? They both sound very plausible. I'm gonna go with the third kick is the real one.
No, I'm sorry. Master Thrower is the real one, and Way of the Third Kick I made up.
Okay, now I know your level of detail, because my reasoning was legitimately that one sounds too like in depth and too detailed.
Remember
Master
when
Thrower,
I told you that I am a 3.5 encyclopedia?
I understand that. Master Thrower just sounds like something you came up with real quick.
Doesn't it?
He throws stuff and he's a master at it.
He's
a master
real good
thrower.
at throwing stuff. No, Master Thrower was one of those funny, because people that took it usually would take a large class, like a large race. Then they would take bonuses to strength. Then they would take something called Monkey Grip, which is a feat that lets you use weapons one size category larger.
Sure.
And then they would try and get Gauntlets of Giant Strength, which lets you use weapons another size larger, so you could literally throw colossal boulders eventually, just like something the size of a house, just hurling them at people.
I would be Colossus and throw Wolverine. I'd do the
fastball special. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, ready? Next one.
Okay.
Blade Bender. A prestige class based on lessening the hardness of objects, making them easier to break, including an ability at later levels to make weapons and armor, quote, rubbery, rendering them useless. Or Street Fighter. A prestige class that means your
A
character.
video game.
A prestige class that means that your character was taught how to fight on the streets, and due to this, takes less damage in combat. And they're also like streetwise, and they get like streetwise bonus and things like that.
It just sounds like a background point now.
I know, right?
That sounds like nothing now. Which one's
real? Which one's fake?
Rubber armor, or I was born on the streets. I'm gonna go with the rubber armor one is real.
Strike two, my friend. Blade Bender, I made up. Street Fighter is the very real 3.5 prestige class. I want that. I was literally, what would be funny to happen if somebody drew their sword and it just kind of like flopped, like, oh man. But no, legitimately, I was like going over the 3.5 prestige class for Street Fighter, and it's things like you are good in streets, you have extra bonuses when you're in a city. But more than anything, it does have a pretty cool ability that every single time you take damage that's not magical, non-magical damage, you can roll a fortitude save, and if you succeed, you take half the damage, and it's non-lethal. It can't kill you. And so
cool.
That's really all it is just being this massive tank.
Okay.
Ready for the next one?
Yes.
Beach Gnome. A gnome-exclusive prestige class that gave bonuses to movement and swim speed while on the coast, including a sand swimming ability.
Plus, you're permanently on island time.
Oh, Jimmy Buffett is your deity of choice, your patron.
But there's some extra like apostrophes in there to make it more like
Jimmy Buffet.
Jimmy Buffett.
of the realm of Margaritaville, the plane of Margaritaville.
Oh man.
Or so Beach Gnome, a gnome exclusive prestige class that gave bonuses to movement and swim speed while on the coast, including a sand swimming ability. Or Breach Gnome, a gnome specific prestige class that gave bonuses while in tight spaces, including bonuses to AC, extra attacks of opportunity, and less overall restrictions.
Beach Gnome or Breach Gnome?
Which one is real? Which one is fake?
I appreciate this. I'm gonna say the Beach Gnome is real.
Strike three, my friend.
I'm so bad at this.
Beach Gnome.
I want the Beach Gnome to be real, though.
So then you can
to be my homebrew class next time I play.
I kind of like want to homebrew all of these now. Like,
yeah, these are my chainmail board shorts.
This next one, oh man, both of these next two, I'm really proud of. I'm really proud of these next two. But yeah,
right.
Beach Gnome sounds great.
Yes.
Beach Gnome would 100% be the favorite like live play podcast
100%
character.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, these are just so good. I'm so proud of myself.
Let's hear them.
Flesh Melder. A prestige.
Flesh Melder.
Flesh Melder.
Okay.
A prestige class that allows a necromancer to remove musculature from corpses and temporarily add it to their body, giving them various melee and strength bonuses, allowing
are my
for
muscles now.
What's that? These are my muscles now.
Give me your muscles.
Allowing for more of a battle caster feel. So they can take muscles off of corpses, add it to themselves temporarily.
That's not how that works.
Or Blood Magus, a prestige class that requires the character to have died and been resurrected by magic. The Blood Magus has various blood-themed abilities, most notably at later levels, when they can teleport through blood, allowing them to erupt out of somebody's body on the other side.
Oh, I want that to be real. Please.
Is that you're calling Blood Magus was real?
Yes.
You were correct, sir. Your first time. Blood Magus is real. Flesh Melder is fake. Yes.
25%.
You
25%.
get 10d6 damage when you erupt from somebody's body. And it's up to like 2 miles. And anybody that you know, that you've seen before or anything like that, like anybody that you have knowledge of, you can just choose them and erupt out of their body, dealing 10d6 damage.
Pretty horrific.
But
I love it.
The picture I vividly remember this picture is of this like mage kind of like doing this thing and with like a look on his face, and then there's just a bugbear being ripped in half as he's like coming out of this bugbear's chest.
That's awesome.
All right, are you ready for the last one here?
Yes. The best I can do is a 40%.
It's a 40%. It's a massive failure.
Yeah.
Okay, ready? Divine Prankster. This prestige class requires 8 ranks in Perform Comedy. So just so you guys know, with the skills in 3.5, you would get, depending on your intelligence, a handful of points to put into various skills. And
Yes.
Perform wasn't just one thing. You had to choose a specific, like you can make it up. You could say whatever you want. Perform, fill in the blank. But for this one specifically, you had to have Perform Comedy. They gain the ability to use their comedy to inspire their allies, similar to Bardic Inspiration, cause enemies to enrage themselves, and most notably, if the Divine Prankster uses 3 rounds to set up a joke, a single enemy that can hear them must succeed on a will save or die outright. This ability was called, of course, the Killing Joke.
Ah.
Or Doomsayer. This prestige class required 8 ranks in Intimidate and 8 ranks in Knowledge the Planes. The Doomsayer had the ability to announce the end of the world, whether or not it was actually coming. This had the ability to cause fear in enemies, give speed bonuses to allies, and even deal massive psychic damage. Most notably, at later levels, the Doomsayer gained the ability to avoid death by predicting their own demise. Once per day, if they were to drop below 1 hit point, they remained at 1 hit point.
I love the Prankmaster General one. That's pretty good.
Prankmaster General.
Yeah, that's pretty good. But Doomsayer does sound like I'm gonna go with Doomsayer's the real one.
Incorrect, my friend. Divine.
I'm bad. Like Michael Jackson.
No, I'm good. That's what it is. I'm so proud of myself.
Really, yeah. You're good at writing these.
Divine Prankster is a very real prestige class. You have to be a Gar Glittergold has to be your patron, and he's the gnomish god of like jovial happiness, all kinds of stuff like that. And you legit comedy
until you
was your
die
thing.
from his jokes. It's so funny. I literally died.
And so funny, I died.
That's why teens say that nowadays.
Oh,
I'm dead. It's because they all were that class in 3.5.
They just all in reference to the Divine Prankster.
Yeah.
So, hey, listeners out there, chat, if you guys want to go ahead and make Way of the Third Kick, Blade Bender, Beach Gnome, Flesh Melder, and Doomsayer, that would be awesome. Go ahead. Those are all me, though. TM me. I made them up. But you can go ahead and make homebrews for them. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Thank you, sir. I'm pretty proud of those. Legitimately, I am. Anyway, Fox, what's going on in the world of news, my friend?
Well, I'm really glad that... Okay, so let's get a little political right now.
Okay.
Not in any opinionated way, but just here's what's happening. Currently, the Congress... House of Representatives specifically, they're in the process of voting and selecting the Speaker for the House, Speaker of the House, and it's been quite a
debacle.
Let's just say a show of some kind, where there've been, I think at this point, 6 different votes, and it's all led to nothing.
Yeah.
Specifically, one person, Kevin McCarthy, who is apparently this has been his like career goal, just keeps losing. And I'm not saying him because it's him. I'm saying if it's anybody, it's just funny. Just that he repeatedly
is that the news you want to talk about? Is we all laugh at Kevin McCarthy real quick?
We'll get there. What I'm saying is that Kevin, it's like that scene from that episode of The Simpsons where Sideshow Bob keeps stepping on rakes.
On rakes? Why is that the funniest scene in the world?
It's so good. It's so applicable to so many things.
Kelsey Grammer, champion.
Here's why I get to bring it up, because it's not just political news.
Okay, let's hear it.
Apparently, a lot of the other, like the Democrats in the House who are basically all united behind who they want, they're literally sitting there doing nothing because Congress, the House of Representatives can't actually act without a Speaker of the House.
Right.
They're all getting paid for nothing. It sucks. Anyway, but
I
they're all
promise
sitting
you,
there
I
bored.
promise you that if somebody stepped up and said, "You're not getting paid until you can work," they would vote somebody in tomorrow.
Guaranteed.
Anyway, sorry, we
But
don't. Let's get off our platform real quick. Go ahead.
it's a whole different one.
Yeah.
Uh, but a bunch of them are getting bored and just trying to have fun with it. So when they call for a vote, every single member votes every time audibly. Somebody at the
So
head of the
excited
thing,
for this.
and one of them decided, one of the Democrats, when was who is it? Jared Huffman. He yelled out, Hakeem Jeffries, but in like a
Leroy Jenkins style.
A Leroy Jenkins style.
I love it, man.
And people in the room at least found it funny. Like, there's a lot of laughter after that. People are just getting bored and wanting to have fun.
Right. What is even happening?
Leroy Jenkins made it to Congress.
You did it, Leroy. You destroyed your entire guild, but you made it to Congress. Congratulations, Leroy. Here's a prize.
He's gonna run into the political situation.
Yeah.
And just
charge in, Leroy Jenkins style. Wow, that's great. I'm happy to hear that.
It is a funny moment.
It is a funny moment. And other very good news, also minorly political. I have an AP News article here. Video game workers from Microsoft form their first U.S. labor union.
Yeah.
Finally.
Yeah. Well, more and more workers have been voting to unionize.
So this is, and Microsoft let it happen. They're cool with it, at least as publicly cool with it. However that goes.
Well, they can't legally stop it.
Right. ZeniMax Studios, which is behind Elder Scrolls.
Well, yeah, behind Bethesda.
Behind Bethesda. They are the organization that about 300 QA employees banded together to form a union. If you guys don't know, QA means quality assurance, and they are famously treated like garbage.
Just dirt.
Yeah. So quality assurance means that it's your job to find all the bugs and whatnot in the game, which needs to happen. That's good. Good that we have QA. It's not just, hey, go play this game, and if you report a bug, you find a bug, report it. It's, okay, your job is to be in this exact room. Like, it'd be like the God of War, this exact combat arena, and you need to kill this specific guy 50 times with the axe. Then you need to kill the same guy 50 times with the Chains of Chaos. Then you need to kill the guy 50 times with the spear, the Dropner spear. Okay, you did that. Now change your armor to a different armor and do it all over again.
Yep.
And you do that for what's supposed to be 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Sure.
In crunch time can end up being 100 hours a week of this exact garbage, like just over and over and over again. And it would be one of those things where they would say, oh, you don't like it? Well, guess what? You can quit, because I have 100 other 18-year-old kids who would love to get hired at a video game company. They
love the idea of being paid to play video games.
Right.
So it's like a Disneyland situation.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like the idea of working there sounds so cool, and then you get there and you're like, oh, this is not what it's cracked up to be. So yeah, it's great that the unionization is happening, because that will hopefully make it closer to what it sounds like, the joy of playing video games.
And you know what?
Be repetitive.
Yeah, you're still gonna have to kill that guy 50 times and then change armor and kill him 50 times again or whatever else.
But if you get to go home at 5 o'clock.
But you get to go home at 5 o'clock. You get things like fair wages and whatnot. Yeah. Like, that'll be great.
Health insurance.
So good job, ZeniMax. Hopefully a lot of other organizations will be able to follow suit.
Oh, it'll just get easier and easier the more that actually
becomes the norm.
Yeah.
For sure.
Pumped about that.
Anyway, Fox, hey, are you ready to get down to the nerdy gritty?
I believe so.
So, if you guys don't know this, we kind of talked about it before. Wizards of the Coast is the organization that heads up, most notably, Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons.
Let's say the corporation. Organization sounds a little more...
Sure,
yeah,
corporation.
A little more charitable.
Yeah, the corporation that heads up these two the monoliths in gaming. Two monoliths? That one will work. Duoliths?
Dueliths.
Twin towers? Wait, no, not that one.
That's not two towers.
We'll go with two towers.
That's appropriate.
Yeah, that's much more fair, much more thematic there. They have for a very long time been crushing it in helping bring the more nerdy side of things into the mainstream. Things like Magic the Gathering and more particularly Dungeons and Dragons are more popular than they have ever been in history, not just amongst people, but also in popular media. Like it's talked about in media, you see D&D and Stranger Things and all this kind of stuff. Like these are things that are just becoming more and more well known, like more deeper in the cultural zeitgeist.
Right.
Unfortunately, they are now really focused on this idea that Magic is close to becoming their first $1 billion IP, and also they've seemed to become more corporate than gaming. So we're going to be talking about some of the things that have been happening recently, our thoughts on them, and then at the end of this, we're going to kind of talk about what kind of path we feel like they should take and how maybe they should go. So it's a few things here and there. So first of all, let's talk on the D&D side of things.
Okay.
On the D&D side of things, there was recently an interview with, I can't remember her first name, Williams. Her last name is Williams. That I do know. And Serena Williams is exactly the person here.
Tennis is a side gig for her D&D.
That's exactly what it is. Dagnabbit, how did I not... Cynthia Williams. Cynthia Williams is basically was talking about 1D&D and their plans for 1D&D. And her point was that for the longest time, DMs took the brunt of the cost and the players got to benefit from the DM's purchases. So the DM bought all the books, prepared the campaign, and the players just built a character and got to sit down and they basically got to play D&D for free.
I'd say in my experience, that's largely true.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't disagree with her. Then what she said was they have plans to monetize every player at the table. That's not an exact quote, but let me be clear. She absolutely did use the word monetize.
Yes.
Their goal is to make sure that everybody at the table is paying money.
Cool.
That's awesome. So here is what I want to talk about with you, Fox.
Okay.
What do you think about this? We don't know exactly what that means yet because 1D&D is still very, very early in its trials and whatnot. But what's your thought on this? What are ways that it could be a massive failure, and what are ways that it could actually kind of make sense?
I mean, it makes sense already. Like, they want to make money. D&D, the hard part about D&D for them is that they need to try to disguise the fact that most of the stuff that they sell for D&D is tertiary to the experience.
Right.
You don't need a little minifigure for your guy, your character. You can put a thumbtack there. You can put a thing there. It's not gonna, just because doesn't look like your person, it has the same effect. Your dice, yeah, you're probably gonna need dice, but
it's not Wizards of the Coast dice. You can go get $5 dice sets from anywhere,
or get a free app on your phone.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
you can pay nothing for your dice. The books, yeah, those are important. You can get free modules and stuff online. You can get crowdsourced stuff.
You can often check the books out from your local library. That's something that I know a lot of people did, and a lot of people got started is libraries have the rule books to D&D.
Absolutely. So pretty much everything that they sell is either obtainable in some other format that doesn't give them money, or just unnecessary at all. And so if they're going to continue producing and owning this IP, they've got to figure out how to make it more desirable for people playing to spend money on it,
Right.
including the people who, like they say, are not the ones who quote unquote need all of the stuff. The players, the PCs. The PCs sit there and do what the DM says. The DM has all the other information. So, I mean, I'm not sympathizing with them because they're just a corporation. I'm
Right.
not going to give them sympathy, but I do understand that dilemma that they have, that they're facing, which so far for a couple of years now it's felt like they've been fine with that and trying to boost Magic as a revenue source to be able to kind of balance that out. But I'm not sure exactly how they're going to change D&D. They would have to fundamentally shift the game in order to try to monetize the players more. I don't know what you can do because everybody, we've got this new book coming out and everybody can just say, no, thank you. What are they going to do? Oh, you need it. No, I don't. I'll just play the old book again or make up my own thing.
Right.
So I'm not really like it. I don't know what the solution to this problem is.
For me, I think it's actually a very good idea that was explained horrifically. Just really, really poorly explained with the worst words. This is something that you and I talked about a long time ago when we talked about what if D&D Beyond became a subscription service. It was an older episode of the Nerdy Gritty.
That's true. Yeah, we talked about it.
But let's think of it this way. Let's pretend you, as the DM, spend $150 a year on books, accessories, the whole 9 yards. Your PCs spend, let's say, $20 a year on buying you gifts and things like that, to prep or whatever their own personal stuff.
They buy a new figure and a new set of dice.
Right, things like that. Now, let's say you can pay $7 a month. The whole table can pay $7 a month. And you have access, all of you have access to all of the books, all of the material, any race, class, module, anything like that.
Yeah.
At that point, the players are spending more money, but this is something that they feel more invested in because it's not like, for example, my PCs right now very often come to me and say something like, hey, I want to be this class, but you have to pay for that book on D&D Beyond, and we use D&D Beyond as our character generator, and I have to say, just find a way to make it up on the way and then scratch out that it says elf and write in whatever class you want instead and hand write in all the abilities or whatever else. Like, just make it up, fudge it, we'll make it happen. But if they could pay $7 a month, if they're monetizing the whole table to have access to all this stuff, then there's not that issue anymore.
Sure.
On D&D Beyond makes more money because $7 a month times 5 or 6 is more than the $150 that you were just spending as a DM.
Right.
You as the DM are spending less money because $7 a month is less than that $150 for one person. The only people that are paying a little bit more are the players, but they are then given more options for everything in front of them.
See, the issue with this is I mean, in theory, it's a good idea. The issue is, why do I need to continue to pay for this?
Oh, again, this is 100% digital. One D&D is almost 100% digital.
I understand that. Sure, which makes sense. If you can create some kind of digital environment, I'm not saying like digitally like rendering the game board or anything.
That's a thing. Did you not know that?
No, I understand that's a thing also. That's Roll20 does that.
No. One D&D has their own 3D mapping modules that they're going to be creating, including custom minis that you're going to be able to make in the thing. Okay. Basically with like the Hero Forge, it's a website called Hero Forge where you can design minis. Something similar to that, where you digitally design it and then you just use it in the game. But it's all digital. It's all 3D rendered. They're testing it right now. It's all still in playtest, but it's basically going to look like a model video game.
But this is if you're playing online with...
Right. Exclusively if you're playing online. Yes.
Sure. Makes sense. I mean, I'm somebody who prefers to play in person.
Agreed.
So I see this. Yeah. So it's a great idea if you are in that realm, if you're in that online realm. But if I'm not, then how are you going to continue to incentivize me to, like, I'm going to play this character for this campaign. I paid $7 to subscribe, made my character, printed out my sheet, and then I don't, what do I need it for now?
And that I wholeheartedly agree with. In fact, I think that they have to wash their hands of 5th edition and before. I think that's the point of 1D&D. Is
Sure.
their way of saying anybody who's committed to 5th edition and before, we have reached our peak getting money from them. The money that they're giving us now is as much money as they're going to give us.
I don't want to play with you anymore.
I don't think there's any more way that we could, have them give us more money a year. 1D&D is the way that they're saying, here's the way that we can start monetizing an entire table, as well as make it a monthly subscription. Again, to me, we're facing the point where everybody was looking at Netflix and saying, why would I want to subscribe to Netflix when I already have cable? Why would I want to subscribe to Netflix when I can just go rent whatever I want at Blockbuster? And then Netflix dropped and everyone was like, hey, actually, that seems pretty good. Hey, I think I kind of want that.
I suppose it's not one for one.
No.
The convenience factor of Netflix is a huge deal when it comes to between, I used to go to Blockbuster in high school every Friday. We go drive, spend 45 minutes trying to pick a movie. We'd still spend 45 minutes picking out a movie on Netflix, but we don't have to drive to Blockbuster anymore to do that. Like there's some convenience there that I'm not sure. I mean, there'd be convenient. I don't know. Maybe it is absolutely part of my, like, no, I'm good with my old ways. And, that the young zillennials are whatever the next generation is, Generation Omega. They're like, you get out of here, old man. We play D&D in the Mindscape. And they have VR headsets and, they've tethered their brain stems together, and that sounds pretty awesome, though.
Yeah, now I'm into this. Yeah,
jump in on that, please.
It's the Oasis. We're going into the Oasis. Yeah, I think, and I agree that this is. I don't know that I would use it. I might, because at the same, exactly like you're saying, I prefer the digital, the physical landscape and whatnot.
Sure.
But even if they did like okay, let's be honest. If you were to do the whole digital thing, 100% digital, it's probably more like $15 a month. But if they did like a $5 a month for your all access to complete character generators, you get 100% of everything you need for character generators. I would do that. I'd 100% do that right now, so that I could make any character I want whenever I wanted to, without struggling with, I don't own that book, I can't have that magic item, I want to be able to use, that variant or whatever else, because right now you can't do any of that. But if you told me I could pay $5 a month to I can have any of that, that'd be great. I'd be right there for it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it also obviously depends on how my campaign finished up about 3 weeks ago. So I'm in this place where it's like, I'd love to play again someday, but don't need it right now. I don't know. There's just you would need to incentivize people to continue paying for it. People would need to continue being able to pay for it and having the reason to, I don't know. There's so many factors. At the same time, sure, a digital character creator, while convenient, is convenient, but also all content of all books is on the internet for free. And I'm not even saying you can go download the digital version of it from some website. I'm saying you can go to roll20.net and find just the info on creatures and whatever there. You can go to a bunch of homebrew sites and just find all the information that's in these books on those websites already. Just manually make your character yourself out of all, like, you don't have to own those books to find that book information.
You said the word that makes all the difference in the world: manually. And that's all it is to me. And this is a 1-for-1 comparison. I think it's maps and Google Maps.
Yeah.
Yes, there is a map of anything for free online anywhere.
Right.
I mean, Google Maps is free too, but you could just go grab it, print it, and drive anywhere you want without any sort of struggle issue at all. Or you could download Google Maps and have it just do it for you. And it all takes care of it. And guess what? It's a hajillion times easier.
You know, this is probably a pretty apt metaphor because I did use Yahoo, or not Yahoo Maps. What did I use? MapQuest for far longer than was, you know, probably even like culturally relevant. I would
He used it 3 days ago, guys. MapQuest.
literally in college, I would print out maps from MapQuest to drive home to Arizona. I mean, I didn't have a smartphone at that point yet,
Right.
But so maybe this is appropriate because for me, I'm just like, yeah, I'll just jump on and find all the information and just put it together myself. You know, I think it's pretty simple. But also, I have done that before and know how to do it. They are trying to attract new people to the game constantly.
Always.
And if somebody comes to it and says, oh, I have to go through a billion steps and write it all out, and where do I find this information? And instead of, or hey, pay us $5 a month. You just check these boxes, and then we'll just give you all the information in the right form, and then it's going to be correct. All that. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like it's just the next logical step, especially for attracting new people to the game.
Right. I will just say one thing about it all is that it has been a habit of Wizards of the Coast, and I'll talk about this a little more later, to try and take money away from your local game store and going digital, and monthly subscription is a big part of that. I think that one thing that would be very beneficial, that would behoove them greatly, would be to have the monthly subscription for the local game store. And maybe it's like $100 a month type of subscription, but maybe it's unlimited storage, unlimited this, whatever, unlimited to everything, unlimited amount of characters, unlimited amount of modules running, unlimited amount of like campaigns or whatever else. And then you as the LGS can say, hey, just come into our store. You don't even have to pay your monthly fee. You don't have to have a monthly subscription.
We've got space
Beyond.
for you to play. We've got
Come
supplies.
Yep.
One of our staff will make a character with you. Like, I think that'd be pretty cool.
I think that would be a good olive branch for them to say, hey, we still want to work with the LGS.
That's a good olive branch. The other problem is, now I'm thinking about it, is you as a DM pay the X dollars a month for the character creation thing. How do they stop? It's the Netflix issue. How do they stop you then saying, hey, PCs, come over. We'll take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes each. We'll run through, make each character. That way only one of us pays $5 and all 6 of us can still have our characters.
I think similar to the way they do it now, you're limited to like 4 characters per account.
Oh, I guess I don't use that enough I didn't even think about that limit the amount of characters. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So
makes sense.
Anyway, so I'll say this. I am cautiously optimistic about 1D&D. I genuinely am, and I'm interested to see where this goes. Because even something simple as like if you're playing online, things like, oh, dang it, I forgot that Cloud of Knives is active and that guy was in it and I forgot to roll the 2d4 damage for it.
Yes.
It does it automatically on digitally. Like it just happens.
Right, you don't have to
things
remember
like
that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
It'll represent it on the map. It'll calculate the damage. Yeah.
All right. So cautiously optimistic about D&D, where I am not cautiously pessimistic, where I am understandably pessimistic, is about Magic the Gathering.
Yeah, especially being somebody who works at a
local game
LGS.
store. Yeah.
You've told me some stories about, I mean, it's about people's habits, but just about the state of Magic the Gathering and how it's being played, and
it's bad.
Especially how it's being purchased.
It's real bad.
It's been real disheartening to hear sometimes.
Man, Magic the Gathering in particular is one that they are really trying. Like, we've talked before about the whole booster pack dilemma. Like, is booster packs gambling? People can get this like dopamine hits from it, and people can like. not addiction, compulsion. I will say that compulsion is the right word. People will feel compulsions to buy more booster packs. I've seen it. I've been there for it. Wizards knows it and they capitalize on it. They have 3-4 different types of booster packs that you can buy at any given moment, depending on how much money you want to spend, what kind of cards you want to pool,
how lucky
what
you
plan.
feel.
Yeah, those types of things. Like, and so they are really capitalizing on it, and that's terrible. Yeah. On top of this, there's the question right now of if they're overprinting their cards. So what this means is that, let's pretend that there is a set and it releases a card that is a very good, very wanted card, and that card is now worth $200. It's that great. People want it that much.
Dragon.
Blue Eyes White Dragon, and it's great.
Yes.
Then 2 sets later, they print it with an alt art, a different art version of the exact same card. Now, that's really cool, and people really like that, but now nobody really cares about the old one. And then 3 sets later, they print it again under a new art with an etched foil thing or whatever. The value of all of these cards are going down because they're saturating the market with the card over and over and over again. Their goal, they don't say this outright, but it's got to be their goal, is to make it so that you're not going to your local game store to buy that, because they make no money when you buy a card from the local game store. They make zero money when you buy a single.
An individual card.
Yeah, when you buy singles, they make zero money.
Right.
But if you have to rebuy that, if you want that new art and rebuy that same card over and over again, you're more likely to buy more packs and to keep going to them over and over again. But overall, it has backfired on them. And now there's this struggle of people not buying their stuff at all because they're oversaturating the market with their own product.
Right.
On top of this, every 3 months, I think right now, it's every 3 or 4 months, it's every quarter or trimester, one or the other, they release a new set.
Yeah, plus smaller individual things coming out in between.
Yes.
Secret I sent layers you that graphic of how many little secret layers, how many different product drops they've had over the years, and it's literally like quadrupled.
I was talking
the last couple of years.
I was talking to some of our. This was at a Magic tournament in our store. Like I said, I work in an FLGS, a friendly local game store. I was talking to the players in a tournament, and we were talking about the Post Malone Secret Layer. Secret Layers are reprints of cards that exist already. They're not new cards, but they have art and titles that are different. So, for example, they did one that was Transformers, and so it's a card that exists, but instead of that card, it says Megatron on it, and it has, whatever, and it does blah, blah, blah. They have a Post Malone Secret Layer.
Yep.
And I asked the guys in the or at the tournament, the FNM, who was this for? And the guy looked at me and said, my mom. My mom knows and loves Post Malone, and she knows that I want Magic the Gathering for gifts.
Huh.
And so she's going to think that it's cool to buy me the Magic the Gathering Post Malone set.
Well, when you open it and you get a good Post Malone card, you always say congratulations, right?
I don't know Post Malone. I'm 40.
Oh, so when you look at them and you don't know you're just going around in circles.
Are these Post Malone references? Is that what's happening?
Sunflower.
I know that one.
You know that
one I know from Spider-Man. Yeah.
No, I just named 2 singles he's had.
Nice work.
Circles is a good song. Congratulations, pretty good.
So anyway, on top of this, this is their 30th anniversary. 2022 was the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, last year.
And everybody was anticipating the incredible thing that whatever was going to happen for the 30th anniversary, what are they going to do? And they said, tell you what, guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to reprint Alpha, our very first set ever. We're reprinting it. And everyone's like, ooh, I don't know if I like that. That's going to be a pay to win. Those cards are drastically overpowered. Some of them are drastically overpowered. And I know you're going to charge a lot of money for it. And so all that really is going to be is that people who have more money get these incredibly powerful cards.
Yep.
Well, to prove that point, they said, $1,000 for the
$1,000
for the Secret Lair pack, which came with booster packs. You did not even get like the whole set or anything like that. You got these reprint booster packs.
There were like 4 booster packs, I think.
No, it's more than that. I think it's like 8. It might be double that. Whatever it is, it's a decent amount. I don't. If I were to click the link that I sent to you, I'd have to minimize you on the stream, and that would make the camera go wonky. So I'm not going to do that. But the bottom line being that it is not worth $1,000 under any circumstances. Now, everybody flipped a lid about this. This is pay to win. This is terrible. This is an awful idea. Why are you doing this? And then they said, but wait, they're going to be...
Sorry, $1,000 for 4 randomized booster packs of 15 non-tournament legal cards.
It is only 4. It's 4.
And they're not tournament legal.
So that's what I wanted to say. So then they came out after this, said, but wait, it's not pay to win because these are going to be gold bordered with a different back that says 30th anniversary, and they're not going to be tournament legal. And then everybody said, then why on earth would I pay $1,000 for it? It is the equivalent of me printing the pictures of them online and tucking them into my sleeve as a proxy, because it's still not tournament legal. Like if I want not tournament legal cards, I can print them off the internet. Yes, like it's not... Why would I want to do this?
I'll just bring my actual Blue Eyes White Dragon. Equally valuable.
Equally valuable.
Playing
yes.
Magic.
The resale value of these are 0. Nobody wants these at all.
Yep.
They launched the Secret Lair, and 33 minutes later, they said, sales are closed now. That's all they said. They did not say they sold out.
Did nobody buy them?
They didn't say anything about it. They haven't talked about how many they sold or anything at all. All they said was sales are closed now. On top of this, they sent a bunch of free ones to different organizations, like Hunter Pence, the baseball player, got a free one. IGN got 2 free ones. And so they are now saturating the market with their own product for free. They're giving it away to people. All this to say that their stock dropped 10%.
Precipitously.
10%. And there was this genuine concern. So, all that to say, things are looking real bad for Magic the Gathering. On the other side of this, by the way, this has all been a throw shade at Magic the Gathering right now, and I'm okay with that, but I'm going to toss in one more thing here. On top of all of this, my store, one of my stores that I work at, really does a lot of what's called Flesh and Blood tournaments, which is another TCG, a newer one, came out just a few years ago, like 4 years ago. Flesh and Blood sales have gone through the roof. People are buying Flesh and Blood at, I'm not joking when I say 4 to 5 times the rate that they did when I started working there 6 months ago.
They're driving away.
They are actively driving away players, and people are picking up other games for it. And if I'm honest with myself, as a guy who actually likes the game of Magic the Gathering, if I'm honest with myself, Flesh and Blood is a better game. It's better balanced. It's better designed. It got to learn from all of Magic and Pokemon's and Yu-Gi-Oh's mistakes and make a better game for it. So, all that dumping, all that shade throwing, all those problems are going on within Hasbro for Magic the Gathering right now. The Cynthia Williams, the CEO of Wizards of the Coast, said, or president of Wizards of the Coast, said that there is no evidence that they are struggling because they are overprinting their cards, which is an absolute falsity. Like, there is so much evidence. I mean, I guess it's anecdotal, not measurable evidence, but I can tell you right now that
there's never really a way to specifically absolutely say here's why our stock dropped.
Right.
But you should be able to make some educated
some pretty
guesses.
Good guesses.
Cynthia, right?
Yeah. So anyway, all this to say, Fox, how does Magic the Gathering save themselves? This is the other thing. They've been trying to promote themselves by crossing IPs, by promoting other IPs. And the IPs they've been choosing to cross over with are super relevant ones like The Walking Dead, Transformers, Post Malone. Like, these are their Warhammer 40K.
That one's pretty relevant.
To themselves, not to a new audience by any means.
True. That's a fair point.
And so it's this really weird point, like area where
Well, there's the first solution. That's how they need more relevant IPs. Here we go. The next secret lair drop is going to be HBO Max's The White Lotus.
that's
the next one is
Ted
going to
Lasso
be
secret layer.
Oh,
I'd do that. I'd buy
yeah,
that.
no, I'd buy those. The next one is Guy Fieri presents Dangerously Cheesy Magic the Gathering. You can actually eat those ones.
It's dungeons
shouldn't.
but
you can.
Dives and dungeons and dives and dragons and drive-thrus.
No, that's a shirt.
It is a shirt. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Well, the other solution. Actually, I have a question for you, real quick. Hey, I found on eBay a Magic the Gathering 30th Anniversary Edition sealed box. You want me to buy it for you? It's only $1,547.
No, that's not gonna. That guy's not gonna. Nobody's gonna buy that.
You want 5, 6, 7?
I wonder if these are selling at all. Here's the actual measurement.
Watchers.
You guys get the live checking here of what these things are actually going for right now. TCG Player is
$1,600
kind of going kind of the like measurement for a lot of these things here.
Hang on. 30th anniversary Mox Sapphire card. Price, this is eBay obviously.
Right.
Price $5,000. I'll take it.
All right, 30th anniversary edition pack. The sales of these they've plummeted. Let's see here. They are going for per pack. Oh no, per pack they're going for about $400 right now.
Great. Wonderful.
Wow. That is shocking to me.
Cool.
Yeah. Anyway, so Fox, what does Magic the Gathering do to save themselves?
Slow it down, guys. Slow it down. I'm not like, I mean, the 30th anniversary thing is a complete
debacle.
Screwed everything up there.
Yeah.
Beside that, I'm on board for the cool secret lair crossovers. The Lord of the Rings one looks pretty cool to me.
Yeah.
The artwork looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like I don't play Magic the Gathering anymore, and I'm not going to buy any cards from them out of principle. But I want to buy those ones just for collecting them because they're cool looking.
I might buy them as singles to support my local game store.
Fair enough. Yeah, no, that's not a bad idea. But slow it down. Like that graphic that I sent you of just how many things they're putting out every year sticks with me. Because it just feels like, how can they not recognize the idea that they are flooding the market? Even if it's all new stuff, even if it's not like reprints or, new alt art or whatever, it just feels like, I remember when we used to have a real good group of people who would play Magic regularly.
We had like 25 friends who played Magic.
It was awesome. It was a wonderful time. And we would look forward to the next set in 3 or 4 months, whenever it would be. A couple of us would go in, buy a box together and like have fun opening them. I cannot imagine doing that now, even beyond just like financially or whatever. I can't imagine just like, okay, in the month they got a new one coming out, let's do it again. Like it just feels like you're just expecting your players to spend so much money on a game that, like, it's just like the return of investment is not there. If you're going financially, like, you're not going to be the person winning tournaments enough to make your money back. And also just like, if you're constantly introducing cards and devaluing your own cards and putting out cards that are not tournament legal and stuff, then the return on investment on fun is also being reduced. Because, oh great, I bought these cards and made this cool deck, and now it's been 3 months and it's kind of useless. And now I have to keep up, it's that constant issue of like having to keep up with what's going on now, which is why having a group of players who didn't care about tournament legal, whatever, we just played together, that was way more fun, which doesn't help them if we're just playing together on our own thing and not caring about the rules they're setting down. Like they're just shooting themselves in the foot, it feels like, in so many ways. To me, I think the better way to go about expanding the brand, and I know so you put this on our little on the agenda here, is brand expansion. There's a D&D movie coming out which looks like it might be fun.
Yeah, a fun film. Probably not
I know,
good,
like
but fun.
several years ago they talked about there was, the Russo brothers are apparently
Magic the
heading
Gathering,
up
there's no news of that. I actually looked
a
it up
Magic the
specifically
Gathering.
for this. Oh, I hit my green screen back here. But yeah, I
You did.
specifically looked it up to see what the news was with that, and there's nothing on it.
The TV show,
It was supposed to release last year.
which sounds like it could be cool. I read a few of the Magic the Gathering books, Secret Shame, some of the originals, which are terrible. I'm sure they had to have gotten better.
Please get better.
But I mean, the idea of these people, these planeswalkers battling it out for whatever, like, just sounds like it could be a cool series.
Yeah.
Where is it? What's going on here? Like, this is the time. Netflix will do anything these days. Apparently, they already started doing this. What happened to that? It feels like they are really putting all their eggs in the actual card game, which obviously is probably going to be the bread and butter most of the time.
Right.
But if you want to expand and not feel like you're just trying to exploit your players, then move it out, push it outward to other realms, get people watching I like fantasy shows, I'll watch this Magic the Gathering show. Oh, this is a card game also. I mean, it's the classic, like, Pokemon strategy. They came out with the games first, and then they did a thing, like, and then it all just fed into each other. So I'm not sure why things like that haven't happened.
Yeah. I think part of their struggles is they're the oldest sibling, so all the experimentation happens with them, and the younger siblings get to learn from their mistakes and whatnot, and see how mom and dad react, mom and dad being the customer, react to it all. And so Magic is always like, what if we do this? What if we do this? And then Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! and Flesh and Blood in particular get to sit back and go, wow, that was stupid. We're not going to do that. Not going to happen. So I think that's part of the problem here. Magic also is struggling with power creep, again, which is not their fault. That's just the reality of games like this. Where
when you're around for 30 years, it's going to be very difficult to rein in the game. But I feel like you're making it harder for yourself at the same time by putting out so much stuff.
Yes, absolutely that. So here's my recommendation. Number one, take notes from other TCGs that are doing a really good job right now, kind of the way that they're doing with you. Learn from them. So, for example, Flesh and Blood has, I think it's either one or two major releases a year, and then what's called a supplemental release.
Huh.
And what that is here's one of 200 cards with new classes, new heroes, new this, new that, whatever else. And then like a few months later, they'll be like, here's some more cards that will help that past set, that will help grow that past set, that'll help, enhance. Here's some things that, like, oh man, that hero, they kind of sucked. Whoops. Here's some more stuff for them, so it balances out a little more.
Yeah, a little more patching.
Right.
Their physical card.
And so do something like that where, hey, have your Brothers War huge release hit, and then maybe 3 months later release a 100 card set that is brothers hug and make up and whatever. And you can still have your every 3 months releases, just tone it back, reel it back a little bit.
Right.
And maybe 3 months after that, that's when you do your secret layer. Like, do it so there's only one major release a year. People would be fine with that. That would be just fine. And then on top of that, make a promise that you will not reprint cards until a certain amount of time. Say, we will never reprint a card until it's been out for 3 years.
Right. Yeah. Once it's out of the that original version of it is no longer tournament legal because, or in Modern, where what,
Right.
3 years?
No, modern is you're talking about legacy is like I think it's the past like 5 years.
I don't know,
Modern is
whatever.
anything, but
Is it? Okay.
most
What
anything. Yeah.
standard?
Anyway,
Whatever
oh,
the
standard is like the past 3 or 4 sets. Yeah.
yeah, that's what I mean. Where it's
Yeah.
like,
Standard.
okay, in tournaments, in the official like, MTG tournaments, you can't use that card anymore. We might reprint it now. Where it's like, oh, it was popular, it could work well here. Like, I don't know, just yeah, rein it in.
And when you make a promise like that, though, people start looking back. Oh, what set came out 3 years ago? Oh, it was I don't know, Streets of New Capenna. And then they say, what were some really good cards from New Capenna? What might get reprinted? Dude, what might be coming back this time around? Dang, oh, just before that, it was Strixhaven. Dude, what might come out from Strixhaven? Dude, I'm kind of excited. Like, you start to build this hype because you've set an actual measurable number on the reprints, and now people can start getting hyped for what might get reprinted. And so you get to build your own hype on top of that. Rein it back a little bit, make promises that you're not going to reprint cards,
Stick to them.
yeah, make less cards in general. And more than anything, here's what I think Hasbro's overall struggle is they got where they were because they were a community brand. They were
Yeah.
a brand that focused on enhancing the local game store, bringing people together to play, whether it be through D&D or Magic the Gathering, having groups come together. Now, they seem to be antagonistic to the local game store and trying to squeeze every money from their customer, and it no longer feels familial. Like, it no longer feels like this is a group thing that we're all doing together. It feels like you're the big corporation trying to squeeze my wallet, and I don't want to do that anymore.
Right. Yeah. I don't know. They just it feels very strange that they would try to deny the things that are happening when they literally were downgraded like as a company.
Yeah.
Because like
Bank of America downgraded them.
the nerds at Bank of America recognize the problem. Actually, that just makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair.
Well, there's probably some nerds there. There's various types of nerds, but like that should be a red flag, guys.
Real quick mentioning it because we're kind of running low on time here. Just a real quick mentioning that there were 5 Magic or 5 Wizards of the Coast based video games, whether they be Magic the Gathering or D&D or whatever else, and all 5 have been canceled.
Huh.
So 5 games were in the works and all 5 were canceled.
They're not going to make something better than Baldur's Gate 3, so.
So, with all that being said, Fox, overall, what does Wizards of the Coast need to do right now?
I don't know. Yeah, like there's this. I could get into a whole financial route or financial what's the word I'm looking for?
Soapbox.
There's a whole idea of, things need to constantly grow in order to be successful. And I really wish some companies, including giant ones like this, would say, hey, what's our actual purpose? Why did we start this? I'm not saying you need to stop making money.
Right.
That's fine, whatever. But what's the purpose of this? What if we slowed down a little? What if our CEO made half as much? And then we decided our profit goals were half as what they were. We're still making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it slows things down. And
although
the people who are
Wizards of the Coast is not making a lot of money right now. That's kind of the problem. But
sure, as a result of trying to.
Yes.
No, and then it is often baffling to me how companies don't seem to think, well, what if we made the people who were asking to pay us money really happy? Wouldn't that mean they want to pay us more money?
Yeah.
And instead, they're like, I mean, the problem is we've got shareholders to make. Like,
yep,
that's the issue. They're the base that they're trying to pander to, not the actual people who are paying money. It also falls on us to, like, it's okay for us to just say, well, I'm not going to give you money right now.
Yeah, I haven't given them money since Khans of Tarkir,
right,
like a decade.
Sure, and there are things like I said, Lord of the Rings cards. I'd buy them without even playing the game anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're cool looking, but I'm not going to. You
Yeah.
have lost me as a customer because of your business practices and because of how you're treating people. So no, thank you.
Yep.
And it's fine by me. We can survive without playing Magic the Gathering. We're gonna be okay.
And to be clear,
They can't survive without us playing.
yes,
Magic
exactly
the
that.
Gathering.
Yeah, to be clear, we can survive without them. They can't survive without
Has
customers.
the power. The proletariat sees the means of Magic the Gathering production. Anyway,
I agree with you on the they need to come back.
Communism.
They need to come back to their roots and find out what brought them to this point in the first place. The reason why D&D's been thriving for so long is because it's been such an open source, share as you will type thing.
Which they have promoted for even
exactly.
the last couple of years.
Like they've benefited
Here's
from
free
it.
stuff every month.
Yes, they've benefited from it, and they have gained, or they gained from it, and we've gained from it as a community.
Sure.
I think that if they, like, I honestly think they should send out surveys to local game stores and say, hey, please fill this out. How can we help you? What are some ways that you could help us? Like, how can we, let's work together to squeeze the wallet of your customers, you know, but like,
we're both trying to make money. How can we do that?
but yeah, like, because the local game stores, the one who's got their finger on the pulse of the community, what the community is what's going on with the community, the people around them, what the players are going to be doing, and then send out surveys and then come back to that. Okay, how can we encourage community? That's our goal. We are a community corporation. If people don't want to get together, we don't make money, whether that be digitally or physically. If people don't want to commune with one another, we fail.
Right.
So because of that, we need to find a way to encourage, promote, and build community. And the local game store is the best way to figure that out, in my opinion. So
For sure.
all right. Wizards of the Coast, we love you. We really do. And because we love you, hey.
I don't love you. You're a corporation.
Hey, come here.
of the
Wizards,
Coast.
come here.
I
Hey,
don't
we love you. And because we love you, we want you to be better.
Don't put those words in my mouth.
Okay? Fox particularly loves you. He loves giving money to you.
I'll kill you.
Fox loves serving big corp and big pharma particular.
That's true. They should pay less taxes.
Yes. That's the way that works. Anyway, Fox, what have you been up to, man?
I'm not sure if you have yet, but I watched Witcher Blood Origin.
I did. Yeah.
The prequel show.
Yeah, it was
The
only 4
Witcher.
episodes. So yeah, watching a couple of nights.
It was boring, man.
Really?
You do you like it?
Yeah, I did like it.
You're the first person on earth, actually. You should look up the scores for it. I found it to be a perfectly serviceable 1980s sword and sorcery nothing show.
It's funny you say that because I'm going to talk about something that I'm into, which is also a 1980s sword and sorcery thing. But sure, go ahead.
It was not a Witcher show, though.
No.
It had none of the intimacy of characters that you have with like Yennefer and Geralt, or Geralt and Ciri.
And what was there was sped up and forced. Like I told Jackie, like I think it would have been better if this was a whole season.
Yes.
Yeah.
Longer. Give each of the 7 main characters some time to breathe. Like you were introduced to some of them halfway through the 3rd out of 4 episodes,
right?
And their character was, I'm sad,
and some of them you're introduced to them and they go, "Hiya, chop." Well, I'm part of your group now. I'm like,
I'm here now.
Yeah, that's it. Like, and that's the whole thing. No, I get it.
It had none of the like gray area that The Witcher thrives in. It was literally, we're 7 people who are gonna take down evil empire. None of the evil characters were justifiable. They tried to a little with the Empress lady,
right?
But her reasoning was, her plan was, I'm going to enslave other worlds.
No, she was going to bring culture to other worlds, is what she said. She was Europe. She was Europe. She's the colonizer.
Look, there was a lot in this show that I think could have worked if they slowed it down, made it a little longer. But it just felt like, oh, let's just bust out a couple episodes of some. People will watch it as The Witcher in the title, and that's all it was. And so it just felt boring and nothing.
Let me be clear.
I was unimpressed.
I'm not saying it was a spectacular show. I enjoyed watching it. It was fun. Boring was the surprising part to me. I don't think it was boring. I think it had plenty of fun action stuff. I think there was a lot of cool things to watch there. It was viscerally a very enjoyable show.
I found nothing in it that was memorable.
Michelle
It
Yeoh
was it.
Michelle Yeoh is always memorable.
She
How
did
dare you,
very.
sir?
She did very
How
little
dare
in
you,
this
sir?
show. No, she did very, very, very little in this show, and it was there was nothing there.
Did she?
Also, I know this is a nitpick, but that big dragon thing at the end should have killed Guy, who became weird monster guy. Should have killed him very easily.
The first
Should have
Witcher.
just shocked him. He's standing there, and it just like slowly walks toward him. Should have just shocked him with lightning in half a second. Like, I don't know. It was very annoying. There's a lot of stuff like that where just like, why isn't? I was pretty disappointed.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun watch. Don't expect it to be The Witcher because it doesn't have the time to be The Witcher.
It's not. It might as well be called Fantasy Show, Fantasy Rebellion.
Yeah, that's fair. But I enjoy that type of stuff. So on that note, I've been watching Willow, the TV show on Disney Plus. I love Willow. I think it's very good. I think it's better than Witcher Blood Origin.
All right.
Different, but really good. So it is definitely a spiritual successor. Obviously, it's a sequel to the 1980s film Willow, which is just a very standard sword and sorcery film. But this TV show itself is a great sequel to it. Holds up perfectly. It is fun. It is funny, comedic. You can watch these characters grow. It's definitely heartfelt. It's a little predictable, but it's a little predictable because it's a sword and sorcery, good versus evil TV show. And so you get a lot of that. It's going to be fine. The good's going to win because this is a good versus evil TV show, but that's okay. This is the genre in which you kind of expect that. You don't watch Harry Potter wondering if Voldemort's going to win. Like, you don't watch Lord of the Rings wondering if Sauron's going to succeed. Like, you know that good's going to succeed. You watch it because it feels good to watch good succeed. Because there's tension there, even though you know what's going to happen.
As long as there's something else that you're interested in, what
Right.
like, yeah, you don't watch Lord of the Rings because you think Sauron's going to win, but you do love it because it has great characters and they, great relationships and the triumph over evil is still
and they do have great characters in it. Particularly, I can't remember the actor's name. He plays Flash Thompson in the new Spider-Man movies. Dang it, I can't remember his name. Hang on, I have to look it up now. Dang it. Well, anyway, he is in the show and he is crushing it as this. He's a prince who has been raised, pampered, and whatnot, and he's been thrust. Amar Kata Patel. No, that's a different guy. Tony Revolori. That's his name.
That's right. Yeah,
Tony Revolori. He plays a prince who's kind of been pampered his whole life and has been thrust into this adventure, and he's trying to like hold his own, and he's bad at it, and so there's like a lot of self-deprecation, a lot of shame in it, but at the same time he's trying to be helpful, and like plays a really, really good character, very heartfelt character. The show's genuinely good. I like it. Yeah, good show.
I watched Glass Onion, which I'm sure you did too.
So good. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a really fun, like, I loved how simple spoilers maybe? Or no, let's not. Nah, it's literally a mystery. I won't spoil it.
Yeah.
I did love how simple the ending turned out to be.
Yeah.
I suppose the actual solution. That was great. But no, it is, good character driven. Like, I could watch 100 million,
Benoit Blanc
movies with Benoit Blanc in him. Like, he could just retire, just be this role.
Yeah.
And it would be wonderful. I did.
There is a scene in which Benoit Blanc solves a mystery in 0.005 seconds.
Yes.
And it's my favorite thing on the planet. Very good.
Also, he plays Among Us with just such a good cast.
with Stephen Sondheim, Rip, Angela Lansbury, Rip, I think, pretty sure. Yes.
She died recently.
And then somebody else that I didn't know.
One of them was Natasha Lyonne, who was a
Natasha Lyonne.
actress. And then also there was one other, but I forget who it was.
I thought it was the four of them.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And he is bad at Among Us, and it's great. No, it's great. It's just as good. I mean, I would say it's equally as good as Knives Out. Just fun, quirky cast of characters with some twists and turns.
Dave Bautista did a surprisingly good job for not a great actor.
Oh, he's a fine. He's been in several things where I appreciated him.
I'm just
He was
I'm
in.
still snake bitten by the Rock in Black Adam and how bad he was. I've been appreciating
So
John
now
Cena more
Batista
and
is
more.
back. Uh, anyway, so yeah, it's great. I did see one thing about there was apparently at one point Ryan Johnson, the director, considered the idea of every movie Benoit would just have a different accent, and it would never be explained or talked about. And I really do wish he went that way, but also this is
No,
great.
I like the
So
Southern gentleman that he is.
I just want him to be German in the next one, and
Yeah, Glass Onion was very, very good. I'm
yeah,
glad you're bringing up these things because I thought you would. So I'm glad that you did. Because that way I can talk about, number one, I talked about Eastward last week, the video game I was playing. I beat it. It's really good to play. It's very narrative heavy. There will be, I mean, these are 16-bit text-based cutscenes that are
wow,
10, 15 minutes long sometimes.
wow,
And so you have to be invested in the story or you will not enjoy it. But if you are invested in the story, it's a super fun game that I recommend, Eastward. But I played and beat a different game called Gorogoa. Gorogoa, this is on Game Pass, is a unique puzzle game. It won't be for everybody, but everybody should try it. This is my favorite puzzle game that I have played in a very, very long time. I can't immediately think of a contender as far as the straight up puzzle games goes. It's so clever. It's so unique. The basic premise of Gorogoa is that you begin the game and there are 4 panels, just a square with 4 squares in it. And you see in one panel, there's a picture of a city and this monster comes and it's attacking this city. Like it's real gentle and smooth. Basically, you just see kind of like, it looks like a Mesoamerican dragon floating through the city. And then it pans back and you see a boy open a book. He turns pages to the book and he sees a picture of that dragon. And then he turns some pages and then he sees a bowl with 7 symbols in it. And the basic premise is if you want to stop the monster, you got to get these 7 symbols. So how do you do that? And it just stops right there. And you're like, okay, what do I do? Well, okay, it's this boy standing in front of, well, what if and you drag the boy to a different thing and the boy and the window move, but everything behind the window stays there. And now you have 2 pictures, one empty window and one of the city, and you can click and zoom in onto a certain point in the city, and then you move the boy back, and the window's at a different point now, and he can climb into the window, into like out into this platform.
interesting.
And or like there's another point in which he's standing on a walkway that has a broken bridge, and then in another panel, you see a wall with a bunch of pictures on it. And as you're looking at these pictures, you notice one is the other half of a walkway. And you double click and you zoom in on that, on the picture, and then you double click and you zoom in on the walkway, and then you put them next to each other in the panels, and they meld together, and the boy can walk across to the other side of the walkway.
Okay.
And this whole 4-panel thing is this like huge part of what's going on here. But what it's also doing is it's showing the boy at 4 different points in his life as a boy trying to solve this, as a young man struggling with depression because he failed and the city is destroyed, as an older, like as a middle-aged man seeing his city be rebuilt, and then as an old man living alone in an apartment. And you see all these 4 stages, but meanwhile, throughout time, you are still trying to stop the monster at the very beginning of it.
Interesting.
And there's no text, not a word spoken. It's all told through images. The puzzling is mind-bendingly brilliant, just so
Cool.
unique. If I 100% understand if you try it and bounce off it, listener. It is a very unique puzzle style and very big brain. Everybody should try it.
Gotta be
Everybody should try it.
A smart boy like Dez over here.
You feel it does the great job of puzzle games. You know a good puzzle game when you are able to solve it, but when you solve it, you feel like a genius.
Sure.
That perfect balance. Yeah, it's so good. Gorogoa is the name.
Gorogoa.
Yeah.
Last thing for me is I read Uzumaki, which a way long time ago, you and I did one of our episodes where it's like we each read a bunch of comics from Free Comic Book Day. Let's talk about them. And one of them that we both read was called The Drifting Classroom, which was a Junji Ito.
Oh yeah,
horror
I do remember
comic,
that. Yeah.
Which we both found to be not great.
Yeah.
I did not know who Junji Ito was at the time.
He's a very, very popular horror like
No, I'm
body
not gonna
horror
like
type.
say that I liked it more because now I know who it was, but it did. I did now. Then I learned who it was, and was like, oh, I should probably read some of what he's, see what he's about. So I got Uzumaki from the library, which is a manga series about a small coastal Japanese town that is infected by spirals,
Mm,
where the people
I've seen
in
this.
this city, a few people at the start just start becoming obsessed with the idea of a spiral and then its power, things like that. And it just starts to spiral out of control,
Hmm.
where it just becomes more and more of the people, more of the environment is infected, things with spiral, like it's just, now it is very, I mean, it's very like episodic. It's just a chapter by chapter of, it's not necessarily an overarching story where each episode or each chapter leads into the next one narratively, but they're all about this place where spirals are taking over, and it gets weird in
Yeah,
like
that's
a
Junji
very,
Ito. Yeah.
yeah, it's a body horror, like people get, it gets gross, you know like don't read it if you're not, if you're not a fan of weird body humor, not body humor,
Body
body
horror.
horror.
Yeah, definitely. Junji Ito is an acquired taste type of guy. He is a very famous body horror manga artist, and
Yes.
as somebody who has trypophobia, I think is what it's called, where scattered holes genuinely upset me. Like
Mm.
not like that. Oh, ooh, I've got phobia. No, it genuinely upsets me. I get nauseous. I get anxiety, like heavy anxiety, and I want to not be there. Literally thinking about it right now, I'm getting like breaking out in a cold sweat. I hate it. It's the worst. But Junji Ito does that a lot, and so I've kind of avoided him. But
Sure. I really enjoyed Uzumaki. I do wish it had a more, I mean, it makes sense. I do wish it had a more satisfying ending.
right,
Not that it needed to tie up in a happy bow, but I do wish it had kind of like a conclusion. It kind of felt like it just stopped at one point. Um, but also I'm okay with that. Like horror doesn't necessarily, in fact, horror when it leaves you wanting can be more horrific
yeah,
because of it.
yeah.
Where you're craving something comfortable and it's not. So I appreciate that on a thematic level. It was, I didn't know what I was going to get into, and it was cool. I'm going to, there's a million things I want to read, but eventually we'll be seeing if the library has more. So, but I
Uzumaki, by the
recommend it.
way, means swirl, means
Yeah.
spiral in Japanese, and that makes sense because Naruto is Uzumaki
Yes.
Naruto, and a big part of what he has is his swirl, his
Yep.
attack. It is like a wind swirl type thing.
Right.
Anyway,
It also
uh,
refers to the
on
daikon
his head.
radish,
Oh, the
and
radish.
yeah,
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah.
Anyway, I've been playing a lot of board games. My family has become a board game family, and I love it. It's awesome. My
Bunch
kids,
of nerds over there.
heck yes, my kids love it as well.
My
So,
family's all about going to the gym.
and Jim has a lot of board games, and
Yeah. No, gym.
and he loves to
Jim.
share them.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it's not at our house, so we're still cool.
yeah. No, so like Star Realms is one of them. That's a basic deck building game where you're in a spaceship. It's real simple. It's super duper fun. It's been out for years.
Yeah.
Betrayal at House on the Hills, another classic where it begins as a co-op game, but as the game progresses,
Trail's great.
one of you becomes the traitor. It's a family favorite right now. But the new one that I really want to talk about is called Welcome to the Dungeon. It was a blind purchase, meaning that my wife and I went to a game store that she had a gift card to from years ago called Off the Charts Games. Off the Charts.
Off the charts is great.
And we were like,
Shout
I don't
out.
know, what looks fun? That one looks fun. Let's get that one. We had no idea how to play it, what it was. But it is a bidding / bluffing game in which there is a hero. Everybody at the table is the hero. So you lay
Okay.
out the warrior. The warrior has 4 HP, and then he has all of his gear, which allows him to slay monsters with power 2 or less, or allows him to get more HP or block one hit or whatever else, things like that. Then you draw cards of monsters, and you can choose to either put the monster in the dungeon, saying that I think the warrior, can beat this monster in the dungeon, or you can leave the monster out of the dungeon and remove a piece of equipment from the hero, or you can just pass. Say, I'm out of this round. And you keep either adding monsters or removing equipment until everybody has passed but one person. And that one person has to face the dungeon with the equipment left and all the monsters that have been put in there. And if they survive, that person gets one success. If they die, that person gets one loss. And if you get 2 successes, you win, or outright win. If you get 2 losses, you're out. So you can either outright win by 2 successes, or you can win by everybody else dying except for you. And there are 5 heroes, different heroes. And so you just cycle through the heroes with different strategies, different ways to play. It was like simple, but the whole bluffing complex part of it was complex. It was really fun and like really unique and interesting. It was a good game. I like it a lot. So
cool.
That's what I got.
Same.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for listening. We want to say a big thank you to all of you out there who are in here on the stream. Guys, thank you for joining us. We want to say a big thank you to all of you who are watching on YouTube or whatever else later. We also want to say thank you to, their name is Granger. That's the name. Thank you to Granger for the use of our theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do most of my neighbors off of the album Dear Sam. Go check out the band Granger, as in Hermione Granger, but just Granger. They're really good, and I like them.
Yeah, they're friends of mine, and I miss them every day. Yeah, thanks for everybody for listening. You know, always, I mean, shout out to Save Point Ministries. Spread their gospel, their word, their
ministry.
They're good.
Talk about my ministry, because our gospel is the gospel.
Right.
Yes.
I realized that was confusing.
Yeah.
So thanks for hosting us, as well as, tell your friends about the Nerdy Gritty. You can come now watch us be wrong in real time, which is just a whole new, you can comment immediately when we say something incorrect.
Right.
We probably do pretty often.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Yeah, it's a new element of interactivity.
Thanks again for listening, y'all. And always remember that saved games save lives.
Bye.
And I'm done recording.
Same.
Awesome. Well, there you go. Okay, if anybody's in chat right now and you want to jump in with any of your thoughts on what we talked about, Wizards of the Coast, or any of the stuff that we watched or enjoying, let us know. You guys seen Witcher Blood Origins, with the Willow, any Magic the Gathering stuff? Let me know. I'm exporting as I speak, and so I'm also distracted by that.
Same. And the problem with reading so much manga now is that there's been many series where I've read like 2 or 3 chapters, and then I remember of it, and then I read the next one, and then I remember 40 others, and then I read the next one. So it's the same with like everything. Even if I love it, gets pushed to the back of the queue, and it takes like 6 months to read the next chapter of something, as well as having to wait. I'm only going through the library to read it. So
I have so much content that I want to consume that I just have to like eliminate entire genres. So I don't do comics anymore at all. And it breaks, whether it be manga or physical, it makes me sad, but I just don't have the time. Like I just don't, my priorities now are video games and board games, as well as movies and TV shows, and books are my one, or actually under that would probably be podcasts, and under that would be books. But there's so much out there. People asking like, how do you have so many hobbies? You like TV show and movies and books and whatever, and D&D. And I'm like, my hobby is actually good narrative. I think that's my hobby.
Sure.
And that's a single thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for, is story.
Yeah. A single thing that can be delivered, whether I'm helping to build that story or otherwise.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we go to 11:15 and it's just about 11:15. So thank you guys on the stream. You guys are awesome. We appreciate you for being here. Fox.
Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Thank you as always, man. And we'll see you guys in 2 weeks when we talk about something. I'm not sure what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the next thing WotC does.
Whatever the next thing WotC does.
The next terrible thing they do.
We'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye, everybody.